Have you ever noticed that the things that used to work and the things that used to help you survive are now the very things that are leaving you feeling really exhausted and worn out and depleted and overwhelmed, and they're just not cutting it anymore? Being strong used to work, and being responsible also used to work. Pushing through, oh, we're so good at pushing through. That used to work. But now you're tired in a way that rest alone doesn't seem to fix. And maybe the problem isn't that you're weak, and maybe it's that you've just been strong for too long. And that's not a sign of weakness. Strength, weakness, they seem to be, juxtaposed against one another. So maybe it's that you're not weak and you're not strong. It's just that you've been strong for too long. And so strength then becomes the survival strategy that then leaves us feeling at the end of ourselves. Many women learn early that being responsible is important and holding it all together is what we have to do. Taking care of others and having responsibility for all these people around us and keep going no matter what. And strength becomes a part of our identity. I know I have always been proud of the fact that I have been called a very strong woman and a dependable one and a capable one and the one that everyone could count on. But the problem is that survival strategies aren't really meant to become permanent lifestyles. Think about it. If all we are doing is surviving in the jungle, eventually that hypervigilance is going to wear us out. So over functioning feels normal until it doesn't. And then we're constantly carrying more than our share. We take responsibility for everyone and everything, and we really have a hard time asking for help. We feel like we feel like guilty when we rest. We feel responsible for other people's emotions. And our nervous system, it just seems to adapt to this constant output and output and output. We just keep giving, and over functioning then becomes the norm. Then our body's like, hey, what are you doing to me? And it starts to push back. We start to feel fatigue. We start to feel overwhelmed. We start to become irritable. And especially around that time of the month, we start to become resentful of the people that we're helping and serving and caring for and the people that we love. Then we start to feel disconnected emotionally. And then sometimes it really just leads to burnout. So, strength without rhythm leads to this depletion that we feel. Strength itself isn't really the problem, is it? It's good to be strong. We go to the gym and we lift weights to build our muscles and to be strong so that we are able to do more. Well, capacity, again, it's not really the problem. If I keep stretching and stretching the balloon with air, eventually the capacity is going to run out and the balloon's going to pop. The problem is that constant output without restoration leads to the burnout we were talking about. It leads to that depleted. Our body is designed for cycles. Think about how a woman's body works. It goes in cycles. Every month there is a cycle. Think about how we live our life by the seasons. We have this, the way that God built the earth is that we have a time to plant, we have a time for things to grow, we have a time for harvest, and then we have a time for rest in all the four seasons in, especially the area like I live in a four-season area. And so there's a time to give and there's a time to receive. There's a time to work and there's a time to rest. Ecclesiastes talks about this. To everything, there's a season. There's a time for effort, but then there's a time for recovery. And when rhythm disappears, then depletion follows. What looks like burnout really just is probably more likely years of self-neglect. Little bit, little bit, little bit. It's not like oh, we just throw up our hands and give up. It's more like we just let go little bit by little bit every day. And that self-neglect accumulates beneath the surface. And so You don't need to become less strong. You don't need to become less capable. You don't need to stop serving others. Of course, that's what we love to do, and we were created in a way to do that. But I would give you an invitation, and it would look like this. How about if we stop abandoning ourselves in the process of all these things that we do? How about if we could hold strength and we can hold capability and we can hold service while still preserving who we are? So, this strength that we find, true strength, really includes rest. I'm going to pause there for a minute because rest is a hard thing. Rest does not mean stop working. Rest means being at peace in the process. Rest can mean setting boundaries. It can be learning how to receive and not just give. It can become something of a process of becoming more self-aware. It can be in finding a rhythm in your life. Strength and softness can really coexist. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Softness isn't a sign of weakness, and strength doesn't mean that we cannot maintain that femininity and that softness to our personality and to who we are. So I would love to challenge you in this. I would love to have you take a moment and just do this little check-in with yourself. See where you might have been overgiving. See where you might have been lacking in your boundaries. See where you might have been giving more than receiving. See where you might have been neglecting yourself, not being quite self-aware as you might need to be. Maybe you ignore the signals that your body's giving you. You ignore the signals that your emotions are giving you. Maybe you've lost touch and there's no rhythm in your life. And so you just feel like you're on this constant go, 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 go. And you haven't taken time to really reclaim yourself, reclaim your time, reclaim your space. And you haven't really found a rhythm. You're just kind of in this reactivity state instead of living from a place of responsiveness and rhythm. If any of this resonates with you, I would love for you to take a minute and just pause to become self-aware. Taking this moment to look at yourself and really check in with all these things is becoming more self-aware. Notice where you might be carrying more than what is yours to carry. I created this little alignment check that is meant for this. It's meant for us to be able to kind of ask ourselves some reflective questions. It's not really a score card. It's not really a quiz. It's more meant to be little prompts that help us to determine where we might have been kind of disengaged with ourselves, come out of alignment with who we are. And so I would love for you to be able to get a copy of this alignment check. It's a simple tool. It's used to identify where you might be out of alignment, and it's free. You can just click on the link that I'm going to provide below, and it's going to allow you to be able to take time to pause and to look inside and to notice and to really kind of pay attention to yourself. So the goal is not to stop being strong, is not to continue living from this fragmented place. The goal is to come back into alignment. The goal is to really learn how to become whole again. Because strength without rhythm eventually comes to a place where we are just feeling really depleted. But strength rooted in alignment creates peace, it creates sustainability, and it creates freedom. And that is the kind of strength that really lasts. So if this resonates with you, feel free to download the alignment check. Feel free to check out other things that I have to offer on my website and on this podcast. And I will look forward to seeing you next week.